Hello! Welcome to another Spelunky Daily challenge. It doesn't look like I have a target. And this is going to be an especially challenging one because the chosen subject is going to be hard to cover without spoiling it, and it's just generally hard to explain why it's so great. But I'm going to be talking about Doctor Who, the TV show. And I'm going to avoid spoilers as much as possible in case you have not seen it at all. And I'm going to try and explain why it is most likely my favorite TV show that I've ever watched. Doctor Who is science fiction. It's more heavily focused in science than a lot of science fiction shows, and when it tries to explain away things, it tends to make more sense. Usually with shows like Star Trek, they would just go straight to the same kind of what was it, like gravitons or something. There was something that they tended to go to every single time to explain the science of something. But Doctor Who actually is... They have a show recently that came on that's the science of Doctor Who, and as Michio Kaku and the others were talking about, most of it is actually pretty well founded in current science, and a lot of the subjects are more things that we've already seen, like cloning. Cyborgs were already getting robotic arms that can respond to human interaction. I think there was actually a guy who managed to put a chip in his brain and give a hand inputs from that. He would think about what he wanted to do and it would respond. So we're definitely advancing in that. But Doctor Who is a lot of things. It's silly, it's funny, but it's also very serious and sad at times. You'll go from laughing to crying when you're watching it, and it covers a lot of what it covers is just humanity in general, human issues, what it is to be human, and there's just a lot of silliness in it. The only complaint that I've seen common of the show is that it's too goofy for someone. And I guess I can see that, but it's really not that cheesy, especially the modern one. I've definitely seen cheesier shows, and it's a very big hit in the UK. I'm just gonna get out of here. And it's one of the main reasons I'm covering it today is the 50th anniversary specials coming on tomorrow, and I'm definitely excited about that. One thing that's really awesome about Doctor Who is it takes common everyday things and turns them into something else. For instance, one of the most frightening enemies in the show is a garden statue that you've probably seen before. The angels that you'll sometimes see in gardens or in public places, and that was one of the most terrifying enemies that they've come up with. So some of the things that they do with the show is they turn everyday things like fish fingers and custard, and they turn them into things that you can relate to from a TV show, and it's actually a lot of things. You'll find if you start watching the series, you'll see references all over the place. You'll start making Doctor Who jokes with your friends that have watched it, and that's one thing that's great about it. Stephen Moffat actually came up with some pretty clever enemies and things that are based off of normal things, and in fact, the very first color episode of Doctor Who invented a common item turning into a scary enemy, and that was the Nestine consciousness. So they turned shop mannequins into a scary thing. So Doctor Who's been doing it for a long time. One question you might have is, I'm interested in it, but where do I start? And a lot of people like to try and suggest Blink, one of the episodes, but I think that's kind of silly to introduce someone to the show with just some random episode that doesn't necessarily spoil the plot, and it's just a taste of what to expect. I personally think that's silly to do. I think if you want to get into this show and check it out, you should just start with a starter episode, and that kind of depends on how willing you are to look at the show as when it was aired. Because the very, very, very first episode, Unearthly Child, is actually quite good, but you have to look at it as a 60s show, because if you've watched shows from the 60s, you'll know that there's really cheap special effects, and it's common for people to overact. Overreacting to everything is very common in 60s shows, so you kind of have to expect that going in. And of course, it's from the 60s, and feminism isn't that big of a thing then, so it's common for the female characters to be always scared of everything and screaming a lot, so you just kind of have to shrug it off if you're going to enjoy it. Oh, I want to buy these things, but I don't want to lower. I'm just going to get a compass. Compass is very handy. So yeah, you have to take that into consideration. Also, some people, I guess, just don't like watching black and white. So if you're against black and white, my favorite Doctor, most likely my favorite Doctor, it's kind of hard to pick a favorite, is the third Doctor, and he came in as the first color episode of Doctor Who. So his first episode is their first color episode, and it is... oh, what's it called? Spearhead from Space, I believe. And it's a serial, so I should point that out. The difference between a serial and an episode is a serial is a series of episodes with one plot. So, Spearhead from Space is 4... I'm not really sure. It might be 6 episodes, it might be 2, I don't remember. But it's a few episodes that have a central theme and a central plot, and they just continue on from each other. So that's something to keep in mind. The old episodes of Doctor Who were often serials, and it's very rare in the new one to have serials. You'll have 2-parters, maybe, I think there's maybe 1 or 2 3-parters. I remember a 3-parter, I don't remember if there was a second. But often the new Doctor Who episodes are finished off in 1 episode, and it moves on to a new enemy, a new thing that needs to be taken care of. I do not have a good weapon. That's okay. Maybe I'll go over here and see what's going on. I don't have very many bombs, so I probably shouldn't have used that. There's nothing here. Okay, I'll just take this. That's all I need. So yeah, Doctor Who is both serious and silly. Very high quality actors and actresses. I just can't recommend it enough. It's easily my favorite TV show, and I used to obsessively watch all sorts of TV shows. Star Trek was previously my favorite TV show. Well, that's handy. I don't even have to kill a spider. Except I think this is one of those spider caverns. Oh god, it is. These levels are terrible. Just giant spiders everywhere. I don't have to go that way, do I? I don't like spiders. In real life or Spelunky. Yes, I'm arachnophobic. Damn it, I do have to go through them. And I definitely don't want to go that way. I could try bombing over there. I either try bombing over there or I sneak under that spider. I'm gonna... Yeah, I have to go that way. Damn it. Okay, here we go. Spiders, spiders everywhere. I'm just running. Jetpack. Jetpack is pretty handy. But I would cost basically all that I have. And I'll end up with a pathetic score. Jeez. Well, I don't want to throw him into that web. I just have a feeling that either I'm going to fall on the spikes or he's going to fall on the spikes. So yeah, Doctor Who, trying to think of what else I need to cover. Whoa. Okay, you can stop picking on my damsel, thank you very much. Or should I say manzel? That work? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's not jump over yet. Careful. Not doing too bad. A nice thing about the third Doctor, if you were going to start off with the classic episodes, or if you've already seen the new ones and you wanted to watch some classic episodes, the third Doctor is basically an action hero. He's probably the most active of the Doctors that I've seen. He actually gets into fist fights and jumps into helicopters and flies around and all sorts of crazy stuff. As far as I know, he's the only Doctor that has his own car. Oh, damn. The fourth Doctor is the most popular, Tom Baker. As far as I've seen, he's a common favorite among people who actually watch all of the shows. But the new series is definitely recommended. Start with Rose. That's the very first episode with Christopher Eccleston. People give him a hard time, but I think he was really good. That's my opinion of him. But yeah, Rose is definitely a good place to start, even though I personally am not a huge fan of Rose as a companion. It gives you an introduction to what Doctor Who is. I didn't want to spoil any of that. I'll just say it involves being able to travel anywhere in time and space. That's a major thing in the show. But Rose, starting there and going through the new series, will introduce you to what Doctor Who is, and it's just a general good starting point. Hopefully that was entertaining. I actually didn't do too bad, I guess. At least I didn't spend 20 grand on a jetpack and then end up with a score of 19 grand. Alright, have a good rest of your day. See you next time.